take my heart, you take my heart.
So about a month ago, I thought TDS released their worst update ever, and that was the skill tree update. I genuinely thought they couldn't make an update that was worse than that, but I feel like the PvP update is even worse than the skill tree update. At least with the skill tree update, they eventually made the skill tree cheaper. That obviously doesn't fix the pay to win issues and overall the several balancing flaws of the skill tree, but at least it doesn't cost millions of coins to max out the skill tree anymore. But why I think this update is so much worse than the skill tree update is because of the simple fact that the TDS community has been waiting for PvP to return for 5 whole years. What separates the skill tree update from this latest update is the fact that an idea of a skill tree was only occasionally teased throughout the years before it was released. But PvP was a game mode that used to exist in TDS and was eventually completely removed from the game, and the TDS community had to wait 5 years for it to come back. Now you may be thinking it could have been worth the wait, but I need to tell you that it definitely was not worth the wait. The new PvP mode in TDS has to be one of the worst PvP modes in any tower defense game ever.
What the fuck? Are you with that Diddy shit? Oh hell no.
So, to start things off, there's a seasonal pass for PvP. There's also 2 modes for PvP, casual and ranked. As I will soon go over in a second, casual is completely pointless to play as of now, and ranked is the only one that sort of matters. When you win in a ranked match, you gain points on the seasonal pass, which allow you to eventually rank up, which gives you several types of rewards. This doesn't seem that bad at first glance, but then you realize a lot of the rewards that you get on the seasonal pass aren't very good. A majority of them are just purely cosmetic, and the ones that aren't cosmetic really don't give you that much. A ranked game mode like this also doesn't fit into a casual game like TDS. Even if it is a game mode based on 2 sides fighting each other, there still shouldn't be any encouragement for competitive play in a casual game. But regardless, there are several other issues that I want to point out that make this mode even worse than it already seems. First of all, casual is completely pointless to play. The rewards you get from winning or losing are very small. You're better off playing literally any other mode in this game for better rewards. What makes casual mode even more pointless is the fact that the only reason you should ever play PvP is for the seasonal pass. Not only because rewards in PvP are insanely bad, but also because whoever loses the match gets the same amount of XP and coins as whoever wins the match.
Wow. Man, this game is amazing. I want to fucking...
guys, I got 124.
So cool.
We got 124 as well!
Oh my god.
Second of all, playing ranked really isn't that fun either, because at the start of every ranked match, players get to choose which towers should be banned, meaning that both sides can't use that said tower. Now this would be a fine mechanic if a majority of the towers in PvP weren't completely useless. PvP heavily relies on AoE towers. Both sides are going to be sending a lot of enemies to each other simply because you get eco from sending certain enemies to the other side, which means there's going to be a lot of enemies at once, necessitating crowd control towers. This ends up being a huge problem because the enemy side can simply ban your best crowd control towers, and you can just end up losing because the game mode relies so much on AoE. You are also incapable of seeing what towers your teammate and the enemy side own, which really just makes it a shot in the dark when it comes to banning certain towers, because you don't know who owns what. Third of all, the general gameplay loop of PvP mode is extremely mindless. Remember how I mentioned you gain eco from sending enemies to the other side? Basically, every few seconds in PvP mode, you will earn a certain amount of cash, and this is called your eco. You can raise your eco by sending certain enemies, allowing you to gain even more money every few seconds. This is one of the dumbest design choices I think I've ever seen from this game, because you are given more money for sending enemies to the other side. In Tower Battles PvP, PvP, you are often discouraged to send enemies to the other side unless you are absolutely certain it will result in them losing. Sending enemies costs a large amount of money in Tower Battles PvP, and you don't gain any amount of eco for sending enemies either. You only lose money. In TDS PvP, however, you are actively rewarded for mindlessly sending enemies to the other side, even if it won't actually make a real push. This results in the repetitive loop of constantly sending whatever enemy gives you the highest amount of eco until you get to hazmats, because every enemy after hazmats either take away eco or just don't give you any eco whatsoever. This is a very boring gameplay loop, and it results in almost every match lasting forever. In Tower Battles PvP, if you play very strategically, you are rewarded with being able to quickly finish off opponents. But in TDS PvP, both sides are constantly sending enemies to each other for eco, which means it will always take a while for a chance for an actual push to be made by sending enemies. The balancing in PvP mode is also beyond terrible. They completely remove the usage of golden perks, which makes it very clear to me that they know golden perks are insanely poorly balanced. Some towers also received balance changes specifically for PvP, which I find really weird because the majority of them don't really help out the towers at all. Crowd control towers still dominate almost every other early game tower, even with these balance changes in place. So a lot of these balance changes specifically designed for PvP really don't help the horrendous balancing whatsoever.
I'm a car. Beep, beep. Hey, that deer is shaped like a deer. Deer.
All in all, I think TDS's PvP mode is the worst PvP mode in any tower defense game ever. The addition of a seasonal pass is completely unnecessary, and it's clear it only exists to maximize playtime for profit. Casual mode is completely pointless to play because you don't get any points on the seasonal pass whatsoever, and the side that loses gets the same rewards as the side that wins, which really says a lot about the amount of thought that was put into this update. I also find it very weird that they're encouraging competitiveness through a ranking system in a casual game. Even if it is PvP orientated, that still doesn't change the fact that this is a casual game inherently. Believe it or not, PvP games can be casual games. The gameplay loop of PvP is also extremely repetitive and just revolves around you mindlessly spam sending cheap enemies to get more eco, rather than actually requiring you to plan out when you are going to send enemies in order to make the other side lose. And overall, this update just feels rushed, and it's also extremely buggy.
Error, you cannot play solo ranked matches. My party is full.
What?
You cannot play solo ranked matches, is what it says.
This game is so
That's what
good.
this thing
Wow.
thinks.
Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments, and goodbye.